To finish our problem, we need to put 3x squared minus 12x plus 1 in the form a times x minus h squared plus k. Remember that the reason we want to put it in this form is so that x is only showing up one place and we can solve for it. So to put 3x squared minus 12x plus 1 in the form a times x minus h squared plus k, we need to know the values of a, h, and k so that 3x squared minus 12x plus 1 equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So how do we do that if these are written so differently? Remember, we can write out the right-hand side to look more like the left-hand side by distributing. To do this, we need to use that x minus h squared is x minus h times x minus h. Multiplying this out, we get x minus h times x minus h is x squared minus 2hx plus h squared. And we still need to distribute the a, which gives a times x squared minus 2ahx plus ah squared plus k. And now that we've distributed the right-hand side, we are left with the equation 3x squared minus 12x plus 1 equals ax squared minus 2ahx plus ah squared plus k. And remember, we want these to be the same. We want them to be equal for every value of x, which means that our coefficient on the left-hand side has to be the same as our coefficient on the right-hand side for each of our coefficients. That is, we need 3 to equal a. Our coefficient of x squared on the left has to be the same as our coefficient of x squared on the right. And we need negative 12 to equal negative 2ah. Our coefficient on the left of x needs to be our coefficient on the right of x. And finally, our constant coefficient on the left is 1, and that has to be the same or equal to our constant coefficient on the right, which is ah squared plus k. So we get the equation 1 equals ah squared plus k. Now, we need to solve these for a, h, and k. In the first equation, we can solve for a pretty quickly. A equals 3. Now that we have that, it will be easier to solve the next equation. Since a is 3, our equation becomes negative 12 equals negative 2 times 3h, which is negative 6h. And since negative 12 equals negative 6h, and we divide by negative 6 on both sides, we find that h equals 2. So we've now found that a is 3 and that h is 2. And all that's left is to solve for k. But now that we know a and h, and we can plug them into our equation, we get that 1 equals 3 times 2 squared plus k. 2 squared is 4, and 3 times 4 is 12, so we get that 1 equals 12 plus k. And we can solve this by subtracting 12 from both sides to get k equals 1 minus 12, which is negative 11. So we've now found that a is 3, h is 2, and k is negative 11. So we can conclude that we can write this polynomial in the form we want, 3x squared minus 12x plus 1 equals 3 times x minus 2 squared minus 11.